Today we're going to be talking HiLift jacks. When I filmed this, the wind was really blowing, and although I've got a muffler or a dead cat as you call it on the microphone, it just picked up lots of noise. So some of it will be voiceover and the rest will be original, so apologies in advance for the horrible sound. Today we're going to talk HiLift jacks. This is the original. There was a copy at one stage. The HiLift jack comes in two sizes, 48 inch and 60 inch. So, what do you need to know about HiLift jacks? HiLift jacks are probably the most dangerous item of recovery you will have. HiLift jacks can hurt you. They can fall over. This edge of the HiLift jack at the top is grooved, but I've been in a position where this has squashed my finger against the car and I've degloved the end of my finger. So even if you know everything, you can still make mistakes. Then with HiLift jacks, if you don't have a cover over your jack, the pins that make the mechanism work get gunged up with sand and dust and mud, and it stops working. So it's easy to lift the vehicle, it'll still work, but it'll jam when you try and drop the vehicle. So normally I have a cover over the bottom. It's a little nylon bag that goes up to here, and I just keep this lubricated, and then no more problems. On the jack you'll see two things, this and the lever. This, when you lift it, it's to jack the car up. That is when you jack the car down. You can jack the car up to probably a meter and it becomes really unstable, so it's nice having some people helping you and holding the vehicle. So when would you use a HiLift jack? There are a number of scenarios. The main reason would be if you're driving down a track and there's tracks on either side and it's muddy or just thick sand and you've got your wheels stuck in the sand and the car's resting on the center sandy mound. You've got to get the wheels out, or you've got to dig everything away. So there's obviously always more than one option. So I'm going to just show you well, that's the one thing. The other thing you can do with a HiLift jack is use it as a winch. You can put a cable through here and a cable through there, and you can winch the vehicle towards the anchor point. So that also works, but quite difficult and laborious. But again, if you've got no option, that's what you do. Another point, and that is that we're sitting on soft sand. So as soon as I start jacking the car up, the base plate's going to sink into the sand, and that's not really what you want. So you can either use your spade, you put your spade underneath, or I've got a block of oak. It's about, I don't know, 5 centimeters thick, but it's strong. It's not ply, it's substantial. So what I'm going to do for the demo is use my toe point, and I'm just going to show you the very basics. You also need HiLift jack points on your car. It's pointless having a HiLift jack if you don't have jacking points. So first thing is I've got my anchor plate. Then put the jack where it must go. I want to lift the vehicle, so I'll pull this up. You can then lift the jack. You don't have to jack it up all the way. The way the jack lifts, you jack it down, this pin moves up and it locks. The bottom pin moves out, the top pin moves in, and it jacks up that way. So if I do this and I'll start jacking, So you can jack the car up. There's two ways of getting it out of tracks. Either you fill the tracks. If it's thick mud, it's not really the answer. The other option is you jack it high enough and you push the car over. So the car will fall off the jack, but in the process you'll get the wheels out of the grooves and it'll be onto hard ground, dry ground. It won't be in the grooves and your diff won't be sitting on the sand or the mud. So you jack it up as high as you want. You can also use this to change a wheel. You then need jacking points on the sides, or if you've got decent running boards, but jacking points are usually the best. If you're going to change a wheel, you'll only jack up one side, you won't jack up the both, because the car can fall off. So you'd only jack one side. So I carry on. I then want to get the vehicle down. So I've finished doing what I'm doing. I've built the sand up underneath the wheels and I want to get it out. I push this lever down like that. And then I just jack the other way. And you'll notice the car's dropping. That's the safe way to do it. If you let this go, it can hit you. So you don't let it go, you hold it carefully and you wear gloves if you're in a real situation. So I'm just taking it down. There we go. When you're using a HiLift jack, as I say, it's the easiest way to hurt yourself. So you don't let kids be around the vehicle can fall off. Wear gloves, keep it lubricated, keep it dust free. Generally you'd mount it on your roof rack. So I normally just jack it enough, build up under the wheels, jack it a bit more, build under the wheels until you've got enough. I have done the push off your vehicle, where I've jacked it up and pushed the vehicle off, so the jack will fall over and the vehicle will move out of the dongas or the deep muddy tracks that it's in, and it works fine. You've also just got to be careful of this hitting your vehicle. On a Land Rover, you've got the big door that's really squared to the vehicle, and as you jack, depending, obviously your brakes must be on, but as you start jacking, sometimes the vehicle will move forward slightly, and this has a tendency to touch the back door, and it will scratch the door, it will dent the door, and holding it, what I did, your fingers get drenched. So a HiLift jack has its place. It's not the beginning and the end, but it's very nice for extreme off-roading. The winch I'm not going to demonstrate now, but it's exactly the same principle, but you just have a cable attached and you use the lever and it'll pull the vehicle towards the anchor point. So that's short and sweet. The biggest point is to keep it lubricated. I've done a whole lot of trips where you don't realize there's dust while you're driving, or the extent of the dust, and you can't get the jack down, and then it's an issue because now it's dangerous, and then you've got to try and oil it and get the dust out. And so just keep it clean, buy a little bag, get your partner to make a bag that goes over it to keep the dust out, or tie a plastic bag around it if you really have to.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. Sometimes you need to go and take a step back to see the truth.